Shalom, family. Good to see everybody again. This time we're going to talk about a recent interview that JD Vance did, and he called Chinese people peasants. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just the whole context of what he's saying. He said they borrow money from Chinese peasants. And I was like, well, if you are the one that had to borrow the money, maybe you're the peasant. Never mind. But you'll see what he's saying when I show you this interview that he did on Fox News. But it is hilarious. The Chinese people are going off. They're telling him he came out of rural America, and the Chinese people are calling him a hillbilly. That's what they are calling JD Vance a hillbilly. Y'all, I don't know. But one thing I can say, I love these Gentiles going at each other. It is priceless. It's priceless. All right, let me share my screen because I want to show you this interview on Fox and Friends that JD Vance did with them. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Oh yeah. Esau and Moab, they're cousins. Yeah, they both got that Neanderthal gene. They're cousins. All right, let's do it. Okay.
Being told that JD Vance is in position. He's ready to be interviewed by our Lawrence Jones. Lawrence?
Hey, Lawrence. All right, thanks, family. Let's bring in the Vice President and Vice President JD Vance. Thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
So the last time we had a one-on-one was in your house. So you weren't Vice President. Yeah, right. you were auditioning. You were the only candidate that said if you didn't get selected, you would be disappointed. Well, you got accepted. So congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some of the issues that matter to the American people.
Sure.
And it's the president's new tariff policy. And when I think about what he got elected on is bring the cost down for people, but also bring manufacturing back to the country.
That's right.
These are gonna kind of hit each other, right? Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration. But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of America? And the answer is fundamentally it's based on 2 principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Mr. Vice President, there does seem to be a disconnect. You see Wall Street in the media and the markets, and they're freaking out right now.
Yep.
But then I look at those workers that were in the Rose Garden yesterday, and they're celebrating. I think about all the diners that I've done across the country, and all these businesses saying we've lost manufacturing here, and they're celebrating the move. What is the disconnect between the market and the people, those workers that are cheering this on right now?
Well, I think on one hand, frankly, a lot of people have gotten rich from American jobs moving overseas, but American workers have not gotten rich. And frankly, American companies have not gotten wealthy from the increasing growth of foreign competitors manufacturing overseas. They, as the president says, Lawrence, these foreign companies, they charge us ridiculous tariffs. They engage in a lot of non-tariff practices like currency manipulation. That has been awful for Main Street in the United States of America. It's meant those diners, their customers don't have jobs anymore. It meant those great steel mills, those great auto plants have closed down and their workers have been laid off. What I saw yesterday in the Rose Garden was incredible enthusiasm because a lot of those workers, they've been working hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Young and old were in the Rose Garden yesterday. They've never had a president who stood up for their jobs and stood up for American prosperity. They finally see something has shifted. There were Democrats out there, Republicans. There were union and non-union workers alike. They know this is a big change, but we need a big change in this country because what we've done, what we did under the Biden administration, it just wasn't working.
So, Mr. Vice President, I know a lot of MAGA folks, a lot of Americans that are cheering the president on, especially when he takes it to other countries.
Sure.
They feel like we've been screwed for a long time.
Yep.
But I also know people that come from our background, they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Of course.
And they want to do the patriotic duty of taking it to these other countries, but it's going to hit them a little bit. They feel. What can you tell the American people that they just can't afford an extra $3 here and there about the government making up the difference from that? Will costs go up at some point? Will this just be temporary? Are we talking 3 months or 6 months?
Well, we certainly hear, and I appreciate, how I grew up.
I know.
I grew up in a family that often did live paycheck to paycheck, and we know a lot of Americans are worried. So we are fighting very hard to bring prices down. We're going to have the biggest deregulation in the history of this country. We're doing a lot of things and already have done a lot of things to lower the cost of energy. You heard the president mention this yesterday. Eggs, when we came in, were at a 10-year high, and all of a sudden they've dropped 60% just in the 2 months of the Trump administration. What I'd ask folks to appreciate here is that we are not going to fix.
Stop right there, because number one, he's lying. Eggs have not gone down 60% in the last 2 months. That is not true. So he's sitting there clearly lying. So, but what's going on is he called the Chinese people peasants, and they are very upset about that, and they're calling him out because they said JD Vance got a lot of nerve. He comes from rural America, and they said he's a hillbilly. Who is he calling a peasant? So anyway, they are upset not only with JD Vance, but China's upset with a lot of stuff, especially pertaining to the tariffs. They're still upset about that as well. So China says JD Vance comment about peasants are words that lack knowledge and respect. China is pushing back Tuesday after JD Vance told Fox News last week that the US borrows money from Chinese peasants. Hold on. Okay, that won't happen anymore. Okay, so let me get back to this. All right. So I'm just still trying to figure out. You had to borrow money from China and you're calling China the peasants? That doesn't make any sense. All right. So he said the US borrows money from China peasants to buy things those Chinese peasants manufacture. So JD Vance, during a Fox News interview, this was with Fox and Friends, made the remark while speaking about the effects of the Trump administration tariffs. And, he goes on to say he think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what is the globalist economy gotten the US? So, he's just talking all that stuff Donald Trump has been talking about. Everybody's been mistreating us and what they're saying don't make any sense. And let's be real, this trade war was very unnecessary. Very unnecessary. So, when asked about Vance's comment on Tuesday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said, to hear words that lack knowledge and respect like those uttered by Vice President JD Vance is both surprising and kind of lamentable. So China has made its position perfectly clear in its trade relations with the US, he added. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Fox News Digital. China criticism of Vance on Tuesday come as the US and China are involved in an escalating dispute over tariffs. And yes, I did see how Donald Trump, starting tomorrow, is putting a 104% tariff on China. I did see that. Remember, during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary. They are. They are. I mean, his tariffs have not brought anything down. It has really inflated the prices. So, he is saying a lot of things that are very dishonest, and they're trying to put a lot of it on the Biden administration. And Donald Trump, it is time for you and JD Vance to stop doing that. You are the sitting president. So whatever happens now falls on you. He said, we've been closing factories. We've been raising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. He said the president, Trump, is taking the economy in a different direction. He ran out on that. He promised it, and he's now delivering. I would like to know, what is he delivering, y'all? Everything is still very unaffordable out here, and it's not happening the way Donald Trump said it would. He said, and I remember this, and many of you remember this too. He said on day one in office, the prices were going to drop. Now we got to be well over 100 days in now. I don't see anything dropping. In fact, it's going up. And before I came on here, I checked Wall Street and everything is back in the red. Everything is back in the red. Mm-hmm. So, China is not a happy camper, y'all. They're not a happy camper. And they're not going to be a happy camper tomorrow when that 104% tariff Donald Trump wrote up on their butts will go into effect on the 9th. So they're going to be upset for a long time. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the prices are going to go up high on things that people use in their in your daily life. That's what they're going to go after and raise the prices on anything that you access or things that you buy constantly from the store. Those are the things that are going to be unbelievably high, like it's not high enough now. Hmm. And I read earlier, Canada is getting ready to put a tariff on the US. I believe a 25% tariff on the US. It's just ridiculous what's going on, y'all. There was nothing going on from other countries to the US where this needed to happen. But everything happens for a reason, right? So the Most High is destroying this face, and he's using Donald Trump's orange face to do it. So when everything collapses, they're not going to remember anything other than Donald Trump was the sitting president at the time. That's what people will remember. For real. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know, Brittany James. You said it hasn't even been a whole 3 months. I know. Look at all the damage he's done in a short period of time. But, I believe he's going to keep going until he brings down the entire government. No telling how long that's going to take, but I think he's going to keep going until he takes the whole thing down. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I heard he's going after Iran, but from what I was reading out in the news, Iran is not cooperating because they said we already had a deal. And he did. He had a deal that was made through President Obama when he was in office. And everybody said it was a really good deal that he made with Iran. And when Donald Trump came in office, he destroyed that deal. He got rid of it. And now, technically, there is no deal currently between the US and Iran because Donald Trump, he destroyed the deal. He got rid of it. So Iran is pretty much saying they're not going to cooperate. So I don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. He claims he's going to bomb them if they don't get rid of their nuclear program. But what country is going to get rid of their nuclear program in today's climate? I would think people would be more inclined to, defend themselves, not get rid of stuff. Hmm. So, oh well, JD Vance, another foot in his mouth. This dude, he really is reckless, you know. And I notice every time he goes overseas and talk, the people are very upset. They said he doesn't know how to talk to people. And I don't care where you send this man, the people around him are always extremely upset with him. I don't know, maybe JD didn't get any good home training. Maybe that's what it is. That in a combination of privilege. Mhm. He's not getting Greenland, y'all. I don't believe Donald Trump ain't get. He wants Greenland and he wants Canada and he wants the Panama Canal. And those folks said they will fight till the to the last man before he gets the Panama Canal. They said they will fight. And Donald Trump don't want Panama because it's just way too many melanated people there. Y'all go look at them folks over there in Panama. They look just like us. He don't want that country. No, no, no. See, he wants the countries that will increase the number of white people. Canada and Greenland would automatically be a jump in the amount of white people that would be under the US. That's what it's all about. He doesn't care. That's why you don't hear him saying, I want Panama too. No, he just wants Panama Canal. He don't want that country with the melanated people with afros. He don't want he don't want them. I know Panama does. Them brothers and sisters over there look exactly like we do. hmm They don't. Those countries aren't. They don't want to come under the U.S. and they absolutely don't want nothing to do with Donald Trump. They don't, because they have said it themselves. They do not. Greenland, the people and their officials all said they don't want to be Americans at all. And Canada pretty much said the same thing too. They don't want to be part of America. So I don't know how Donald Trump is going to take these countries. I heard some people say military force. I don't know. From what I understand, don't these nations have militaries too? And Greenland belongs to the Danish. Okay, they are the ones that own Greenland. And I know they're not giving that up to Donald Trump. So I don't know why he keeps yapping about that. That's just like, I mean, if somebody came over here from a foreign land and say to Donald Trump, I'm taking America, he would have a fit, and we all know it. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and we'll definitely do this again real soon. Shalom, family.